I felt anxious seeing the mainstream media and a top expert flip-flop on their opinion and testimony. Had these security concerns about Dominion really changed?
I would submit that many of the features of Dominion that are being characterized as glitches are actually designed features of Dominion to help people manipulate the results of the election. We had a outage at all the tabulator computer, I think it was a tabulator or adjudicator computers. They were down for 45 minutes due to network issues. We also had issues with some of the poll books that we understand there was an error message that popped up that there was a notable gasp when it happened, and it said, warning, this computer is being hacked. The errors that popped up on the computers with the tabulators and adjudicators was something called backup overflow. That's not a standard Windows error message. Where you do see that error message is on when you're trying to back up to a SQL database. Now, either each one of these tabulators had their own SQL database built into that workstation, or they were trying to connect to some outside database that was not local at that workstation. So you couple that with the fact that some strange things similar to that were happening up in Antrim County, where we already have evidence that 6,000 votes were flipped from Biden to Trump. Now you start putting together a picture where this whole internet connectivity becomes pretty important.
There's nothing secure about the Dominion voting gear or any other, or even Diebold and others. Nothing secure. And patches are just pieces of software added to already complex, insecure systems.
From a cybersecurity standpoint, why would patches be a vulnerability?
We haven't seen the patch that was installed in 30 states on the Dominion gear. So when someone writes a patch can open a back door, change an algorithm for better or worse, accidentally have a bug in it that allows what we call buffer overflow or other software exploits. Most of the time, patches actually close one hole and open one or more new holes.
The public who purchased this equipment is not allowed to look in at the code or know how to operate. It creates a space for people to make accusations and have theories about how votes were stolen or switched through some kind of hacking or some other nefarious electronic means. That space only exists. You can only make those accusations, and people can only believe them because all of those are closed source software packages and closed source machinery. If it was open source, it would be much more difficult to make that kind of accusation.
Let's say that we have 1,000 people in a bank and they all have, let's say, $100 each in the bank. Now they're earning interest. So if you hack into that bank and you notice that someone's earning interest, the interest is not 1 full penny or 5 cents. It can be a half a penny that day. So anything under a penny might not be recognized. So you slice the half a penny out of that person's account and move it to yours. You slice 3/4 of a penny out of this person's account and move it to yours. Their bank account numbers always look normal because we don't publicly publish when you log into your bank account that you have a half a penny of interest. We wait till it rounds up to a full penny. So that's called the salami method.
So you're not talking about switching full votes, you're talking about switching fractions of votes?
We have a problem with software and hardware for voting, not paper ballots, because they allow percentages of votes. One person can have 1 vote, or they can have 0.5 vote, 0.2 vote, 0.1 vote. So I can take 0.9 away from you, for myself, and give you 0.1, just from 1 vote. The salami method has probably been used in our election by slicing votes away from one candidate, the current president, Donald Trump, slicing his votes away and then moving them, shifting them to Joe Biden. And that's called the salami method. And if you do it right, you can actually slice so many times in so many counties that it shifts a dramatic amount of votes to a different candidate.
This reminded me of an unusual scene in CNN's live election night broadcast, which I saw captured on a netizens cell phone. As the host was interpreting the results in several key states, a live ticker on the bottom of the screen showed the vote count in various states. It first showed that Trump had 1,690,589 votes in Pennsylvania, versus Biden's 1,252,537. But after just half a minute, the ticker showed Trump's count suddenly drop, while Biden's suddenly increased. Normally, the vote count for each candidate only increases as the ballot counting proceeds, but during those 30 seconds, Trump's count dropped by almost 20,000 votes, while Biden's jumped up by almost 20,000 votes. Notice how the drop in Trump's count and the increase in Biden's count is suspiciously the exact same number of votes, 19,958.
I'd like to see the logs. I'd like to see the algorithm. I'd like that to be analyzed by someone like myself who can read and write computer code.
I had training as a corporate lawyer. And when you're a corporate attorney on Wall Street or in Los Angeles or anywhere else, when you research a company to take it public or to, as an investment banker, to finance it, you do your background check. You do your true due diligence. You kick the tires. Diebold, if you look at their history, was fraught with all kinds of problems. They've had issues across the land. And eventually their software, their hardware, their IP all wound up in the hands of, guess who? Dominion.
It's not just Dominion, by the way. It's voting equipment that's running software that had internet connectivity, whether or not it was patched, whether or not someone had admin permission to go in and change the way it operates easily by following downloadable instructions. We blame those who were allowed to have access to this gear, how the gear was set up, why this gear was set up. Why did certain states accept very vulnerable, easily manipulated equipment?
And who had access to that equipment? And what changes could they have made right before the election?